when you stop wanting, that's when you get everything. I was actually having a conversation at work the other day with my team, and we're talking about goals for the next year and what they want. And one person's talking about challenges, and the other person's setting financial goals. And we're laying down things that they want to attain. And I just stopped and started talking about the shift that occurred in my life. And it really had me thinking. I mean, for the last week and a half, all I've been doing is thinking about this because it's such a powerful topic and something that so many of us get wrong, including me so early in my career. Thinking back on starting my career, everything I was doing was about what I wanted. I wanted security and safety amongst everything else. I didn't want to struggle. I can remember my mom telling me that if I could just put $1,000 in my checking account and forget it, I would never bounce a check. Little, tiny, small goals. And those small goals became bigger, but they were oftentimes financial because that was how I would build my security. And what happens is when you tie everything to the financial goals of wanting more, it's very empty because the more you want, the more you spend, the less you have, the more you want more again. And so I look back on my career, and there were a couple of really important things that have changed the way I think that are worth sharing. Number one is when I started in my career, I started in a financial industry. I had no money, no backdrop, had never actually managed my own money, and had to start from scratch. And what that meant was I was knocking on doors. I was cold calling. I was doing things that I never dreamed I would do. I remember having friends laugh at me because I'm walking in the street and they would drive past me and they would joke on the fact that times must be really tough for me because I'm literally going door to door like a vacuum salesman. At the end of the day, I remember feeling this pride inside of me that knew that I was working towards my goals. But my goals at that time were strictly financial. I would set games. Hey, if I can just make $100,000, then I know everything will be great. And then I would attain it. And I would forget about the fact that I spent 15 to 20,000 on events and building the business. Or I had these expenses that I hadn't factored in, and then I would need more. And this occurred throughout time. About 7 years into my career, maybe, I found myself in front of the Rotary Club, and I was watching an event that they were doing, and it was awful, awful. And all the movers and shakers were in the room, and everybody that I respected and admired in our city, in our area, were in this room. And I was like, we should be doing so much more. And we created a charity wine festival out of that feeling. That was something I started working on and started building with the organization and building a team. And it changed everything for me. Here's how it changed. Everything up to that point that I was doing was driven on wants. What did I want? I wanted a bigger house. I wanted a pool. I wanted to be able to send my kids to a better school. I wanted them to go to college. I wanted to afford college. I mean, I can go through everything. I wanted to have a mini soccer field in the back of my yard, which I do have now. I wanted to have all these things that I dreamed of, but they were all things. It was all stuff. And every time you get things or stuff, there's an emptiness that goes with it because you need more. For me, it was a turning point working on a charitable event, something that had so much impact in the community. That very first year, we donated over $175,000 to charity. And I remember thinking, Scott, you can never write a check for $100,000. You don't have that kind of money, but you just created something and worked with a team to deliver across the community one of the best events our area has seen. And not only that, but the impact that we just made was $100,000 to the cancer center and $75,000 to other charities. And here was the point. That very month, that very time frame in my life, I saw a reevaluation of everything, a surrendering, if you will, of why am I doing these things? And I changed the way that I thought to a couple of different areas of thought. Number one, I need to have more fun in the things that I'm doing. I liked wine. I thought wine was a super fun topic. My best friend was in wine. I liked tasting it. I liked learning about it. I loved events. I had been doing events in my business and they were fun and they were profitable. And by combining them together and then having all my family and friends come out and celebrate at this event, it was a blast. And most importantly, it was impactful. So when I started to see the impact that it made and the way that we were actually making a change in the community, I went back to the drawing board that year when I went through my life model, which I do every single year. I went through and I looked at my career and I changed everything from financial goals to goals written around impact, impact in my family, impact in the community, impact within my business, which meant how I served our employees in a different way. I started to reframe the way that I actually looked at things, surrendering, knowing that there's something bigger than me, that God's guiding me, and I just made an impact that I hadn't dreamed of. Now, what if I put my mind to doing more of it? See, wanting is one thing, but wanting more without working towards a goal that has some impact on someone else's life, on something in your community, it's so empty. And it becomes this game. You know, Zig Ziglar said that if you chase money, you're never going to catch it. And really, there are only three ways to get there and actually be financially successful. And number one was helping people. Any good business has to help people. And we were doing that. Number two is you have to turn a profit. So many people go into business and they forget that just helping people isn't enough. You actually have to be profitable in a business, which means you have to be mindful of where you spend your money, where you invest your money, and how you build more. And number three is you have to serve God. You have to serve something bigger than yourself. So I was really implementing these ideas and impact became my driving force. Now, fast forward, I've been working, I'm making very, very good money. And I remember deciding that I was in the wrong place and I needed to start my own business. I had built the confidence that I wasn't chasing money, I was chasing impact. And because I was chasing impact, I had the confidence to bet on myself. I can still remember having decided that I was going to start my own business and develop my own platform and bring my own team and then build it from there. And I can remember saying, oh my gosh, I'm giving up everything financially I've worked for, all the security, all the comfort, all of it is going to be gone. And I would think about it for a minute and I would move on because I trusted God and I trusted my goal of actually serving him and serving impact. I had a conversation with my father in the garage a week or so before I actually started the company and left the old company, where I was now sacrificing and giving up the ability to actually bring all my clients with me. I could tell them what I was doing, but I couldn't actually bring them with me. And I had to do it a very specific way. And I told my father, and my dad looked at me with these eyes like, dude, when is it ever going to be enough for you? And I explained to him, I said, Dad, it has nothing to do with chasing money. It has everything to do with knowing that I can do more, be more, serve more, give more, develop more, build a better platform, change the world in a different place, in a different way. It was just bigger. And I had a vision of what I was going to accomplish. And the first couple years were really challenging. But I did sell him that day and he totally trusted me. And my parents have always believed in me and I'm very blessed that way. But I'll never forget the look on his face of just sheer not understanding how I could actually give up all the success that I had, change, blow it up to start from scratch. Fast forward, it was the best business decision I've ever made in my entire life. We built that company from just me and a couple of friends to 100 people across the country, to something so much bigger that we're still building today with the help of new partners. I'm so happy to have built something that was serving more people, that was making a bigger impact. That wine festival that we started from scratch 15 years ago has donated over $2.5 million to charity from an idea and a team and the goal of impact. The families that we help, that we serve, the dental chair that exists, the Boys and Girls Club that has an impact every year, the local CHIP organization that helps thousands of mothers learn how to take care of kids without ever having the influence in their lives. All those people are better off because we decided to align our goals, to have fun while we did it, to serve God, to build something bigger than ourselves, take chances, and have the confidence that it takes to actually build something that's worth building, something that's exciting. It all comes down to wanting without working is wasteful. Wanting something is empty, but wanting it for someone else is powerful. Wanting it because you know you could actually do more and help more people, powerful. Wanting it because you were actually put on this earth to do more and to be more, super powerful. These are the things that guide me today. That was the shifting point in my life. That was a change that today has led me in so many great directions. And honestly, when my sons ask me about what they want to be or what they might want to do, I always talk about impact. I always talk about what they're great at. I always help guide them towards a lesson that took me too long to learn, because I felt like I started my life laying on my back and punching up at the world when all I had to do was stand up and open my arms and accept God's plan for me and my place in this world and what I'm good at doing. And the more I did that, the more successful I became, and the easier money and the original goal came into my life. For people that find themselves struggling with this very thing, it's a very simple recipe. You have to detach yourself from the result and attach yourself to the work. You have to reevaluate your goals. I had to reevaluate my goals. I had to see the impact, and what we were accomplishing was bigger than the original goal. When we actually start evaluating and setting our goals towards the who's in our life that matter most, the impact we want to have on the world, our faith, something bigger than ourselves, God for me, and energy, how we're going to show up to the world, how we actually are going to serve and build and help. That's the change. That's the recipe. One last thing. Nothing's more challenging for me than when I hear someone feeling like they don't have a better opportunity in front of them or they can't do something. It's really a matter of finding what you're great at and building towards that, knowing that you're going to build towards something that's going to make an impact on the world. But you can't make an impact on the world if you're constantly focused only on yourself. It's got to be bigger than you. And if it's just me, I'm going to fail. And so that's the last parting thought. Just focus on something outside of yourself. Who are you working for? Why are you doing it? What are you working towards? And how are you going to show up? That's the life model. That's what I redo every single year, sometimes multiple times a year, to build something bigger in this world for every single person that listens, for every single person that follows, for every single person that we come in contact with. The goal is to make it a better place. And I'm going to do the best I can, and I hope you will too. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you liked it, there's more where this one came from. Click here and enjoy some more.